We just did our breathing exercise, didn't we, Kyle?
Yes.
This is Kyle Browne, and she's an amazing artist, part of the stable of Hive gallery artists, right? Which is, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
The whole.
It is.
Now, were you one of the original people involved with the Hive, or you kind of jumped on board?
I actually was. I would consider myself one of the original because I was part of that crew and renting a studio space over there before it was called the Hive. So.
There you go. Very cool.
Yeah.
And now we could probably. I know they've talked about it on the Hive. John's talked about it on the Hive website, but there's some exciting developments with that. They're gonna.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about what's going on?
Yeah. Well, as far as I know things have been up in the air. We're all pretty busy, but we are going to be moving our space, or our gallery space, to Art Haven in downtown Gloucester, and I think that's going to be really exciting to give some of the artists a little bit more exposure and have certain hours that'll be open and in collaboration with the community arts center. So
very cool stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you now. Let's talk about you. How long you've been involved? You went to school for art.
Yep.
Has it been like a lifelong passion of yours?
It has, actually, yeah.
Yeah?
It has. As a very young child, I asked my mom if I could take art lessons, and so she enrolled me, with private art lessons when I was a kid, and throughout school, that was always my favorite class.
Yeah.
And
born and raised in Gloucester?
Born and raised in Gloucester. I was born in Rocky Neck.
Nice.
I have done my fair share of traveling and leaving Gloucester.
For perspective, right? And
perspective, you're right.
And then you're away. Did you? Now this is the case for me, but I don't know about you.
Okay.
When you left, before you left, did you have the appreciation that you have now?
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think so, and but I feel like I left at the exploratory age of 18.
Nice. Yeah.
But I just wanted to get out and leave my parents.
Yeah.
So I did spend a fair amount of time on the West Coast, and
cool.
I also continued my passion. I went to undergrad for art and
Where'd you go?
Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York.
Nice.
And continued exploring it on the West Coast in California, and then went to New Zealand for 2 winters and did artist residencies in New Zealand.
Jeez,
So.
you're the real deal. You're not some hack. We got a real artist here.
Right.
That's great. That's great. All right, I want to focus in on this beautiful piece up here, which is like.
Should we try to?
Oh, it doesn't matter. But this is a self-portrait you did.
Yeah.
And I think it is so beautiful. And you have, what is that process called? It's not just watercolor, right?
No, actually, this is what I would say one of my main styles that I do is I use acrylic, pen and ink, and collage. And so this I did an underpainting in acrylic, and then I went over with a whitewash to create kind of a subtle background. And then I did pen and ink on top of it, which is the black detail work, and also the.
And how about the lettering and stuff?
That's with pen and ink, a white ink.
And that's self-portrait.
It's a self-portrait. That was actually for one of my times in New Zealand when I was feeling very at peace with the world.
Very cool. All right, and we'll go from there over to this self-portrait. Which is a little funky.
Yeah.
But this is a whole different exercise you were telling me about. And why don't you explain this one?
This is called blind contour drawing. And what you do is this one I was looking in a mirror, looking at myself, but you can also do it with an object. And I was looking in the mirror and drawing myself, but not looking at the page, or I wasn't looking at the piece of paper while I was drawing it, so it becomes completely free form. It's definitely a way of loosening up, and creates some pretty interesting lines and images.
Then you have all these other stuff, like other little ones that you're drawing around. It's really cool.
And you can see I have text in that one too, so I do like to involve that kind of word and image, So.
Yeah, and over here, you did a couple of these things. They're.
I'm getting really into environmental art and using natural objects and kind of using what I can find to create. So really, not leaving too much of a environmental footprint, or being more conscious about being environmentally friendly or eco-conscious.
Yeah.
And I was really been inspired by a pretty well-known environmental artist, Andy Goldsworthy, and kind of taking on some of his, I guess, ideologies and just using stuff I found on the beach to create images and shapes.
Really cool.
So that was actually, the crab was from 10 Pound, did in 10 Pound Island. And I was rushing against the tide, so I tried.
You really found those are like you didn't use paint on that red.
Nope, that was brick I found on the beach.
Wow, very cool. Then like what are those mussel shells?
Mussel shells and clam shells. Someone must have been having a clam feast because all these clam shells.
It's perfect.
And limpets. I'm finding a lot of limpets on beaches.
What's a
lately.
limpet?
A limpet are these. I don't know if you can tell. Actually, here, I'll show you. Oh, where are they? Have some in my bag right now. I was collecting yesterday.
All these on the search.
These are limpet shells.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We get some limpet shells. Very cool. And you also make your own paper.
I do.
And this is what we're looking at right here was an installation on Rocky where was it?
The Rocky Neck Gallery, formerly known as the Browne Gallery on Rocky Neck.
Very cool. So what is the process to make paper?
Well,
is it very a very detailed process?
I can do quickly, but this is basically I made this. This is a screen and a decal, and what I love about making paper is that it just involves basically recycled paper and water. So there's no chemicals. There's no you get pretty wet, and it definitely is a big process if you don't have the studio and the machinery like I don't have.
The space, yeah. So
I sit there and I recycle and I rip paper and I blend it, which is like you call pulping it. So it becomes kind of like a fine, almost smoothie like, and then I put it in a big tub of water and I lift and I pull.
I get you. Yeah. And
then I would take it and put it on a piece of felt and put it down and you call cooching it. Cooching, lift it up. And because I don't have all the presses and everything, my paper takes on more of a rough.
The texture.
Yeah, it's really textured, and you can actually see all the different types of paper that I ripped up and put in here. Yeah. Different colors and
some kind of seagrass and stuff.
Yeah. So I like to collect and collage and things in my paper.
Beautiful.
But I like that effect too of having a little more texture.
I guess we should tell people where we are. We're actually above Passports at your beautiful studio, and a theme. I guess we talked about this earlier, but not on the film here. Was that you're very inspired by the environment, and that's a big part of your. And what do you attribute that to?
I definitely attribute it to growing up on the ocean.
Yeah, Rocky Neck.
Growing up Rocky Neck, being exposed to the ocean and the power and the beauty of it, as well as vacationing in Maine in the summer and kind of being able to take a step back and just be in nature and realize how much that inspires and influences me and lets me think clearly.
Yeah. So
I think I just like to share that beauty with others if I can.
All right. Well, let's talk right now where people can find your work, because you have a beautiful website.
Yeah.
And why don't you give the people the address?
My website is actually my name. It's www.KyleKyleBrowne.com. You can go there, and I also have a blog. It's www.drawnin.com. So
all right.
if you want to see more of my work in progress. And I also am an educator, and I lead collaborative projects and art things.
Where's that?
I do it independently, and I also work at the PBD Essex Museum in Salem.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we will link to all that kind of stuff, and and people can check out all the great stuff you're doing. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Kyle.